This time of year, the beginning of September, can you believe it is the beginning of September? Can you believe it? I can't see all your faces. I can only see eyes. No, I see heads. No, I can't believe it. Yes. You know, right around Labor Day, this time of year, it always reminds me of the start of something fresh and new. I think the beginning, of the school year right around this time is like in our DNA somewhere. It's in our cellular memory. There's nothing like a new shiny binder or backpack or pack of pencils or whatever it was for you to kind of remind us, to ignite that sense of something brand new. And not only kind of the beginning of school happening, but tomorrow night, Rosh Hashanah begins, the Jewish New Year and the festivities that are celebrated all over the world. And if you are Jewish, and if you happen to be watching this tomorrow night, I say to you, Shana Tova, Happy New Year. Rosh Hashanah is such a rich time for the Jewish people, and I believe for those of us who are not Jewish, we can learn and we can glean just so much from this meaningful and this potent festival. This is a very special time for transformation. And for our Jewish sisters, brothers, and siblings, this time gives them the opportunity to reflect, to recreate themselves for the coming year, to look within, to seek forgiveness, to make amends where it is needed, to create a healthy environment for themselves, to deeply consider their priorities in life so that they can become the best person that they came here to be. It's a time of divine realignment, if you will, of balance. In the macro sense, Rosh Hashanah is a celebration of the creation of the world. And in the micro sense, it is the celebration of how each person can create a new world for themselves. Rosh Hashanah is a holiday of hope. How beautiful is that? Whether you're Jewish or not, this message of transformation is powerful and it's timely for all of us. The title of my talk today is New Beginnings. And I believe in my bones that we all have the opportunity to begin again in every moment. In every breath, we have a choice to begin again. That is grace. That is the grace that we have been given. You can begin again in every breath. In her Rosh Hashanah poem called Head of the Year, which is the phrase Rosh Hashanah actually means, head of the year, Marge Piercy writes, "The light you seek hides in your belly. The light you crave longs to stream from your eyes. You are the moon that will wax in new goodness." You are the moon that will wax in new goodness. We all want new goodness. The human desire to be happy and well and safe and thriving is universal. And the idea of having a religious or a spiritual holiday that celebrates our ability to create that is brilliant. Brilliant. The ancients knew full well that we humans need to periodically and regularly be re-engaged. And we humans, on occasion, we need do-overs. We do. We need do-overs every once in a while. In Islam, during the holy month of Ramadan, there is an opportunity for making amends and starting fresh. Many of the ancient traditions taught this. I love the idea of having official opportunities and encouragement that normalize apologizing where we have wronged others and making amends as a part of our spiritual practice so that we can set free, as Marge Piercy wrote, the light that longs to stream from our eyes. But what about that which hinders us? What about that part of you that holds on to unforgiveness? not only towards others, but unforgiveness towards yourself, which after many, many years of teaching forgiveness workshops, typically, it's much, much harder to release forgiveness of ourselves than to forgive others, yes. So what about that part? What about that part that's hard on ourselves, or for some, relentlessly harsh on ourselves or judgy of ourselves? What about that part within you that just can't quite forgive that thing all the way? Whatever that may be. And this is important because try as we might, my friends, we can't truly start over. We can't really begin again when there is any kind of lingering guilt or shame or feelings of unworthiness still within us, holding us back. We are what keep ourselves from our new goodness, not anyone else. We do that. In the Talmud, which is the central text of Rabbinic Judaism, there is a phrase, Bishvili nivra ha'olam. It means, for my sake, the world was created. Be with that. For my sake, the world was created for you. The great Jewish mystic from the 17th century, Baal Shem Tov, explained how to apply this wisdom. He said, whenever feeling downcast, each person should vitally remember, for my sake, the entire world was created. Bishvili nivra ha'olam. That, my friend, is how important you are. That, my friend, is how important it is that you finally give yourself a break, that you finally forgive yourself, that you finally love yourself. And this isn't meant to be some ego trip or some self-help hack. This is ancient wisdom from the Talmud. It is truth with a capital T. It is the ancient reminder that you are a divine emanation of spirit, that you matter. Bishvili nivra ha'olam. For your sake, the world was created. You are important, love, and as such, if there is anything internally that is holding you back from forgiving yourself, from beginning again, from starting fresh, from remembering the light in your belly, I invite you to decide, to take a breath, to take a leap of faith even, but to decide that you are worthy. You are worthy to step into your new beginning, whatever that may be for you. Even if that is as simple as feeling clear in your body temple, even if that is as simple as remembering your wholeness. About 25 years ago, there was a woman who was in her early 30s, and she thought her life was pretty much set. She was married, she had a kid, she had a job she loved. She was a gardener in a little town in Massachusetts. And one day she was at work and she was pulling weeds, and she pulled this bunch of weeds that came out of the ground way too fast. And she flew back, and dirt flew everywhere, and then she realized it wasn't actually dirt. It was a swarm of yellow jackets. And she got up and she started running so fast. And those yellow jackets were furious that she disturbed their underground nest, and they started chasing after her. And the Great Dane from across the street thought this was a delightful game to just chime into, and he started chasing after her down the street. And she ran at top speed with all her might for several blocks until the yellow jackets, not to be confused with bees, the yellow jackets finally turned around and went back to guard their nest. And the Great Dane got tired, and he too went back to his yard. Well, for many of us, that would have been the end of that. Yes? I don't know that I would have returned to that same place. I don't know that I would have stayed in that profession, truth be told. However, this woman stayed up and she researched, and she learned that the best way to fumigate was at night. And so she got up the courage and she went back, she learned what to do, and she fumigated at night. And not only that, she did not leave it there. She decided the whole thing had piqued her interest so much, even though it had been a difficult and challenging experience. She wanted to know everything she could. She went back to college and she got a degree in entomology. And within a decade, she had 3 science degrees. And she spent her life studying insects. Now, I don't know how to explain to you the respect and awe I have of this woman. I am not a fan of yellow jackets, just you know. And what an incredible human that we can learn from. I love her. I mean, what a story. She was at full choice about how she would process a rather scary and unexpected and potentially dangerous experience that she had. But she chose to take that potentially charged event and get very curious about it. And so I ask you, where in your own life can you look at a negative experience and make the choice to actually lean in and learn something more about it? Where is that for you? Now, to be clear, I'm speaking here about something in your life that may have had a negative impact. I'm not speaking about a traumatic event. Real, actual trauma requires guidance from a professional therapist or a practitioner. I'm speaking specifically about something that was or is negative, challenging, or just still a pain in the tuchus in your life. Something that maybe you don't want to look at, something that perhaps you may want to bury. What is that for you? Emma Curtis Hopkins, perhaps the greatest metaphysician of her time. She was the teacher of Ernest Holmes and so many other pioneers in our New Thought teaching. She wrote, "The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is." The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. So this begs the question, what are you affirming your world is? Gently ask yourself, am I affirming that the world was created for my sake? Am I affirming that this world is for me and not against me? Are you affirming even more peace and joy in your life? Or perhaps, just maybe, are you affirming the yellow jackets that seem to keep showing up in your life? One way to check in with yourself on this is to notice what it is you generally speak about. I want to be very clear. I'm speaking right now about things that are very separate from social justice work and the injustices in the world. I just want to be very clear. Talking about your own inner processes, that voice within you that is hard on yourself, okay? So what is it that you generally speak about? The Buddha taught that our thoughts become our words, and our words become our actions, and those actions create the world or the reality that we live in. So this concept is not new. It's also found in Hinduism. It's ancient. And as such, in our teaching, in New Thought, ancient wisdom, and metaphysical spiritual teachings, we have a great reverence for the words that we use. We understand that they have power. The Buddha taught that. They have power. We understand We understand this, and so we mind our words carefully. And what I will share with you is that when things get heightened, we can forget this. Yes? We can forget this. Those of us who've been in this teaching for, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, we can forget this. We understand that our words have power. Our healing modality in our teaching is affirmative prayer. Literally, it's affirmative prayer. It's using our words as a healing modality. We understand that the words we predominantly use, especially over time, have an impact on our lives, positive or negative. So gently think about this just for a moment. Have you been gossiping lately? It's okay, be gentle with yourselves. Has that been coming up for you? Have you been stirring up drama? Or maybe excessively complaining? Are you talking about those yellow jackets in your life from, I don't know, last week, last month, last year, 5 years ago, 25 years ago? Gently notice, are you repeating that same story? Maybe it's just with a different set and a different set of characters. Is that possible? Because my friends, if you have not yet made the conscious decision to take whatever your yellow jacket experience may have been or currently is and learn from it and get a degree in it, heck, get 3 degrees in it, so that you know how to finally once and all fumigate it, I promise you will forever be chased by it. It's up to you. We are always at choice, and you deserve better. The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. Thank you, Emma Curtis Hopkins. So just like those seeming weeds in the garden, any time that something has been unearthed in our life, anytime something gets pulled out from where it has been shallowly buried, it is calling to be healed. James Baldwin wrote, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." From a metaphysical perspective, anytime something feels like it is going backwards, whether it is a draconian law being reinstated, or former regimes or dictatorships regaining power, or patterns in relationships or old behaviors within ourselves that are resurfacing, and it feels like we are going backwards, it is because the full and complete healing around that false belief hasn't happened yet. It may be that you've gotten to a certain point. That happens. If you notice any slippage in yourself, in your community, in your world, there is a huge call for healing. At the next level, take the heartbreaking situation of the oppression of women and girls that unfolded in Texas this week. Again, as James Baldwin said, nothing can be changed until it is faced. Now, of course, so many of us are grieving what is happening there. And we will take a stand for women's rights. We will do all the things. We will march. We will write letters. We will refuse to financially support those who are enforcing the oppression of women. We will move our feet. We will stand up to reproductive rights and women's health. And the deeper, lasting work, the true progress, the promise of healing will happen Because while it feels like things are going backwards, and they are, we will also, in addition to moving our feet, be holding the space for real and lasting healing to happen, which requires that we, in essence, go back to the beginning within ourselves and deeply examine and excavate any places, any unconscious places within us. And I say this with all the love in my bones. Any place within us that is unconsciously participating in the oppression of women. We get to do that work here in the most progressive of progressive communities. This isn't just about Texas, my loves. We teach that we are all connected. Do you remember last week I talked about us seeing ourselves in the other? Do you remember that? There I am, there I am, there I am. And if you're having a knee-jerk reaction to what I'm saying right now, all the more reason to gently inquire as to why that might be coming up for you. There's something underneath it for you. There I am. What is happening in Texas is a call for all of us to begin again, to dig deep, to do our own work, to truly liberate the parts of ourselves that are oppressed, the ways in which we keep ourselves down with the words we say, with the thoughts we think, with our actions. And in doing this work, we liberate others. Do you see? That is Metaphysics 101. It ain't going to happen out there until it happens in here, within all of us. And this takes courage, my friends, to name deeply the shadowed and unhealed parts of ourselves. I know. It takes courage. The great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said, "The hour calls for moral grandeur and spiritual audacity." Isn't that fabulous? The hour calls for moral grandeur and spiritual audacity. It is our moral obligation to help heal the places within ourselves that are not free. It is our moral obligation to heal the places within us that still carry any remnant of oppression of women. Any part of it. Look at social media. Come on. Come on. We get to do this work. The hour calls for moral grandeur and spiritual audacity. In doing this, we fully support and we stand firm in the healing of each other, of our communities, of our country, of our world. And I proclaim for each of us the spiritual audacity to do just this. Are you with me? Yes. Are you with me online? Yes. We absolutely can. Because we have no choice not to. The sign that things are going backwards is the sign for us to stand up even taller and to bow even more deeply. We can begin again in every breath, always.